Dear Mr. President and Miss Hillary Clinton, some like to call you Billary, I am addressing you today because of what I've been observing your policy practices. Just the way you think. I'm black, if that matters, or if you can't tell. And I think I have an opinion on what's been going on, basically regarding the Oregon shootings. Terrible, terrible tragedy. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's you as individuals or if it's you as liberals. It definitely isn't you as Democrats unless it's just a political Democrat thing. Possibly. I'm an independent, by the way. I vote who I think the better candidate is, whether that matters or not. We all know the Electoral College votes in the officials anyway. But let's get to the point. Your gun policies. You guys, as liberals or whatever it may be, must be some of the most naive individuals, and it's not your fault. But to say that you can solve mass shootings by blaming people and harming people that don't have anything to do with what happens with these mass shootings. When you say that the way to solve these mass shootings is to have stricter background checks, you can't solve a mass shooting with stricter background checks. Our background checks are strict as they need to be. They're actually more extreme than they need to be, I guess. I would say that they're as strict as they need to be. The guy who shot people in Oregon, the guy who shot people in Colorado and Newtown and Columbine and all the other mass shootings, none of these guys had felonies. None of these guys were domestic abusers. You can't stop these guys from shooting people massively. So I agree with Jeb Bush when he says shit happens. I agree with Donald Trump when he says shit happens, because they're actually speaking in reality. They're speaking reality. But Mr. President and Mrs. Hillary Clinton, you guys are so full of shit, and it's either by your own doing or it's your naivete, in which case you're innocent. To blame people who have felonies is wrong for many reasons. One is they've already served their debt to society. And you like to make an excuse to be prejudiced and discriminate against them from employment, from having a normal life, from housing and many other aspects. And then you want to go to the gun restriction, when these are probably more responsible people than the ones who don't have felonies. Why? Because they've already been punished for it. The ones who you need to be looking out for is the ones who don't have felonies, the ones who haven't been caught yet. Either because they're good at what they do, or because they haven't been, or because they're a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. And typically, people with felonies didn't use a gun in the commission of their so-called crime, because these are made-up laws, right? Just made up, just what somebody felt like doing. It's not morality. We're not dealing with morality. We're just dealing with violations of some legal code somewhere that no one knew about. So, you want to blame felons, so-called felons, because what does that mean? That's a made-up term anyway. It's a label you put on a slave. And then you want to act like you're for poor people. But you're the first ones to attack poor people. You liberals. You Democrats. That's why I'm independent. I'm not your typical black person. I'm just voting Democrat because that's what black people do. Then you want to talk about domestic violence abusers. Again, like the felons, domestic violence abusers typically don't use guns in the commission of their crime. I don't know how guns get factored into the whole ordeal. And it goes back to what I just previously said. There's a first time for everything. The people who already been punished for the crime are not the ones that you should be thinking about. The ones you need to be thinking about is the ones who haven't been caught yet, because those are the ones who go do mass shootings. The ones who do mass shootings were not felons. They were not domestic abusers. They had every legal right to purchase weapons. They had every just right to purchase weapons. Unfortunately, they used it in an inappropriate manner. So how do you think you're going to solve the gun problem? And it's funny that you want to solve the gun problem every time a bunch of urban people get killed, or every time a bunch of white people get killed. And it's ironic that most of the time it's some white person or a Muslim who in this country identifies as white anyway. So when white people go kill a bunch of people, or when white people get killed, you want to, which is typically in a massive, it's typically by white people, because black people don't even kill white people. White people kill black people. White people go out of their way to kill black people. They kill white people, but they go out of their way to kill black people. Black people don't kill white people. So when a bunch of white people die, it was probably by another white person. And then you want to talk about gun control. They just had articles all over the local news in LA, in the newspapers, in the blogs, in the news reports, that the murder rate had been high this year. You didn't hear Obama or Clinton, I believe, at least I didn't hear him make too big a mention about gun control with those issues. People have been dying in black communities for a long time by homicide, regardless of whether it was by black people or not. Like I say, white people kill black people don't kill white people, but black people do kill a whole lot of black people. And so when black people kill black people, you don't hear anything from the powers that be. You hear it from the local community all day, but the powers that be don't address gun control. However, like I said initially, I think at least the background checks are the way they need to be. Unfortunately, I also believe that felons shouldn't be denied their constitutional right. Again, you have been punished already. So to discriminate somebody from employment, from housing, from your Second Amendment constitutional right, I mean, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, these guys, if you have a felony, you can look at the records. Most people who have felonies didn't go out and shoot somebody. They got people that went out and shoot somebody, and those people, I believe, shouldn't be allowed to carry firearms. But if you did not use a firearm in the commission of your crime, I don't see why you're being barred. I don't care if it's violent. I don't see why you're being barred from using a firearm. Even the people who did use a firearm should have some chance at rehabilitation of some sort. Maybe it's a 20, 30-year ban. Who knows? But if you didn't use a firearm, you shouldn't be banned, period. Because the odds are you're not going to go do it again. Especially if you don't belong to a gang. Maybe if you belong to a gang is another reason to put some sort of restriction on somebody. If you're on gang file, again, those people should have some chance at rehabilitation. A lifetime is too long for anything, because you only get one of those. And we seem to punish people harshly that have the less amount of defense for themselves, who are economically handicapped, which is screwed up. So, I'm pretty much sick to my stomach with what I hear Hillary talking about, stricter gun laws. You won't be getting my vote. So we can have a repeat of that Bill Clinton lock every nigga up for nonviolent crimes for the rest of his life type bull crap. Nah, it's not going to happen. Nah, I'm not voting for you. And Obama, he probably the worst president in history. But who would expect anything else? I don't 100% hate the Bushes. And not 100%. I mean, not George Bush. I had him in my lifetime. I don't know about Herbert, and I don't know about Jeb. I probably don't like Jeb neither. But Obama is related to Bush and Cheney, and it makes you think about a lot of things, right? So, who's going to? I think he's probably the worst president. Unfortunately, he gets the credit as the first black president. He's not even a black man to me. I don't see how Obama is any more of a black man than he is a white man. He has half and half. His mom's a white woman and his dad's a black man. But guess what? He wasn't even raised by his father. He was raised by his mother and her family. So he was raised by white people. On top of the fact that he's 50-50. So he's a white man to me. I don't see how he's going to get the credit as the first black president. Anyhow, I'm sick to my stomach with what I heard Hillary say and the way that Obama talked. Obama is such the biggest pussy to be the first black president. I don't accept him. He's not my first black president. He's a pussy. Obama is the softest pussy. He's the image of the emasculated black man. President Obama is an emasculated black man. And I don't know what we're going to do about that. But we need a real black man in the office so that the world can see what a real black man is. I'm tired of having these figures being disrespected and just, they don't really represent what a true black man is. The white man got balls. Yeah, we know this pussy white man too, but the white man got balls. The black man can have balls too.